I've played video games all of my life, but one game that I keep going back to that's resonated with me since I was a child, since I basically had nubs for hands, was Roblox. Roblox taught me a lot about businesses in a very weird way. But before I start, let me introduce myself. I'm 23 years old, a millionaire from YouTube and real estate, still in college part-time because I want both a backup plan and I enjoy learning, and most days I just play video games. I want to talk about this because Roblox was one of my early tastes of what it meant to kind of create a system. And let me explain. Roblox is very different from other games, especially because it's a UGC platform, which basically stands for user generated content. It means that the creators are users as well, and the games that are being presented are owned by other people. A very early type of game that I loved and I still kind of appreciate to this day are these games called tycoons. I don't know what type of crazy crack they put into these games, but let me tell you, when my nubby little hands took a sniff of this game, oh my gosh, was I hooked. And for you guys that have never played Roblox, it's okay. I'll be explaining it as I go. But basically, this Roblox game, known as Tycoon games, there were a lot of these out there. And what they were kind of like a game where you progress. It's very similar to Clash of Clans. And in Clash of Clans, you have generators. These generators either make you coins or elixir. But in these Tycoon games, there are generators that you have to purchase. And after you purchase them, they generate you money. So your goal is just to create this enterprise of generators and completely expand. And this is basically something that I loved. For some reason, it gave me a dopamine hit every single time I made an upgrade. So you're basically usually building something, and you usually just start out with a flat piece of land known as your base. And then you purchase your first generator. This is how I think it relates to business, because this is kind of how real estate works. You buy your first house. This generates you income if you rent out the second floor, maybe the other side of the house, maybe even a room. All of a sudden you're making income from it, so it's kind of a generator. Now this applies to me because a lot of my income at the moment comes from real estate in this very system. Because once you own it, it pays you passively, and all you have to do is exist and manage it. Over time, though, you upgrade your house, add features like second floors, garages, this is in the game by the way, and your income multiplies. But in real life, that's kind of similar to renovations. Because if you do renovations on a house, if you didn't know, it appreciates the value. You kind of force it to. Not to mention, you can get rentals where you don't even live in it, or even leverage equity. So this is kind of how I saw it. Obviously not at the age of 10, but now looking back at it, it was very similar. These tycoon games are basically telling me how to become a real estate conglomerate in a very weird way. They just dumbed it down so that a kid can enjoy it. But in these tycoon games, we're going to go back to the first generator. So even going further before you have your first property, because I know, especially in this damn economy, there's not a lot of people that own a house, right? So I'm not going to sit here and say like that's a normal thing. Your first generator doesn't necessarily have to be a house. Maybe the house could be, we'll just leave it as an asset. But the first generator could be a skill. You see what I'm getting at here? You get your first generator, which is a skill. In these tycoon games, the first thing you buy are droppers, machines, generators, whatever it is. It changes game to game. But they seem small and useless at first, especially because they make you barely anything. But this is literally the foundation of the empire that you will start. And it's no different to real life. Your skills, tool set, and your mindset are those early investments. Very boring at first. They're not going to give you instant results, but are crucial to you building this empire of yours. These are necessary, and I hate seeing people skip these. They want to make $1 million business, but they don't have a single skill. Are you crazy? Without them, you will never get off the ground. And so if you're at this position, genuinely, the best thing you could do is learn some skills. They're not hard. You can use YouTube. You can use ChatGPT. I say this almost every video now. Like, just do it. You know, it's not hard. And you don't even need to worry about the pay. Just learn it because you're interested in it. There are lots of interesting softwares out there. Like I remember the first time I had to learn something like 3D animation for YouTube intros back in like what 2010. That was all the rage back then. And I had to learn this software called Cinema 4D. I was put like at the age of like 10 or like 11, 12, one of those ages. I was losing my mind because I couldn't freaking make vectors. You know what I'm saying? But I loved it. I love not knowing because it means that I can actually learn some stuff that I think is really cool. Not to mention, I think also it's not just one skill. I think you have to stack a few skills, learn a few applications, and really work on your mental. Get your mental up before this stuff because if your mental sucks, even if you get lucky and make $1 million, it's going to be useless if you can't do it again. That is something that I kind of have to drill into my own mind right now. What is the point of money if you can only make it once, right? So these skills are infinitely your tools. The competitors are everywhere. In these Roblox Tycoon games, there are annoying players who try to kill you or even slow you down. And that's just a little fun aspect of the game, but I really do see it in business because competitors are market distractions. Competitors are people that are taking the customers that could be going to your business, paying you their money, and making you rich. So obviously there's not like an instant answer to how to deal with these competitors, but I think it's a good thing in real life because you can copy them. If you see them having something that you don't have, you can innovate using that. A good example of this is during the Great Short Gold Rush. That's what I like to call it. But basically, it's like TikTok. And the moment TikTok became a really big thing, notice how YouTube hopped on it, Facebook hopped on it, Instagram hopped on it. Every social media platform that was really big decided to hop on the shorts wave as well. Simply because a competitor did it and was starting to take market capital from them. And sure, some of these pivots and decisions might have been reckless, some might have been more strategic, but the point is you can't let them stop your momentum. Keep at it, even if they try putting you down. At first, everything very much is exciting. Money's flowing in, the upgrades are constant, so this really applies to people that have something going, whether it's freelancing, your own business, or you're even ahead of me. But after a while, the place definitely slows down. Things take longer, progress isn't as obvious, and sometimes it's hard to tell, especially if you have a new standard. If you're making $5,000 to $10,000 a month, all of a sudden, making $9,000 a month is less wanted. And that's just real life. The growth definitely plateaus at some points, and you hit walls. It's up to you, though, to figure out how to scale that wall. There's always a way. And the thing is, especially nowadays, like there are some vehicles that do limit you. So think about your vehicle that you use to get to where you are, and if that's genuinely what you want to do. The vehicle that I chose to scale myself to 1 to 5 million is real estate. I believe that will take me to that $5 million net worth goal. And so that's the vehicle I've chosen because it does have a high ceiling. There's not a lot of limiting factors here. The sky is literally as far as I could go with this sort of stuff. I think another thing as well that Roblox Tycoons taught me was delayed gratification. You don't beat this game in a few minutes. You usually beat this game in a few hours. So obviously it's not as long term as you might think, but as a kid, those hours were really long. If you remember ever having to be put onto timeout, imagine that hour. That's kind of how it felt. But it's the same in life. Don't flex too early, invest it first. Build your foundation before you end up buying all that fancy stuff because you really don't need it. You can go without it, trust me. Like it's no different to spending all of your money on decoration and cosmetics. What the hell are we doing? Get more generators, get more houses, get more assets, build something that you're actually proud of, build something that'll actually get you to the goal that you want, not something that you can use to pretend that you're at the goal that you're wanting. And so really take that to heart. Another thing that Roblox taught me was that there's always a bigger tycoon next door, and that's okay. I mean, it depends on your goal, but at least for me, if there's a bigger tycoon, that just means there's higher to reach. And if there's always higher to reach, I'm in a good vehicle. That's how I like to see it. If you see someone across the map who already has lasers, a jet, a massive tower, some of the stuff that these Roblox Tycoon games have, they're crazy, I'm telling you. The envy definitely is a real thing, because someone already has all that stuff. But this is your journey. This is not their journey. This is your journey. But if you quit now, you'll never catch up to them. And maybe catching up isn't even the point. Maybe the life that you want by the end of it isn't even at that level. And the truth is, they started earlier than you. They were more consistent than you. And they probably took more risk than you. Now, whether you get spawn killed, stuck on a glitch, or grinding for one final upgrader in Roblox, I'd like to think the most notable thing that I took away from it is just to be consistent. And the same applies to business. If you're consistent, you will end up at least somewhere further than you were yesterday. And that's enough to keep compounding your way into your goals and dreams. Subscribe if this helped, and feel free to join our Discord server. Peace.